That shit made him laugh. And the next day, after the show, I saw him backstage. He was like, yo, what's up, man? I'm like, oh, shit, what's going on? And he had his buddy with him. He goes, Dave, I want you to meet Manuel. Manuel's my fiance. We're in New York getting married because it's legal here. I said, well, gracias. And he went to go get some drinks. And then my buddy looked at me. He was like, so, Dave, what do you think? And I started mumbling again. You gay, nigga. You know, you just gay. He said, yeah, I'm a little nervous about getting married, man. It's a big step. I said, yeah, it is. It's a big step. He said, well, you've been married for a while. You got any advice for us? No, I'm married to a woman. Sorry about that. And he corrected me. He said, no, you married the person that you love. So it's essentially the same. I said, you know, man, the problem with that statement is that it makes the assumption that I love her. But you guys lighten the fuck up. Of course I love my wife. She laughs at this shit. As a matter of fact, she eats and spends this shit. You know what I told him? I told him, I said, you know what you should do, man? First of all, you shouldn't do it. I'm talking about being legally married. It's not that you're gay as much as just legal marriage is a fucking diabolical leverage game in the United States. I'm just being honest. Devoid of religious significance or the idea of love, marriage is nothing but an awful contract that you shouldn't sign. I'm just being real. Because you start out loving each other, and then like 2 years later, you're just building a case against one another for a hypothetical court date that may or may not ever happen. You throw being gay on top of that, that shit is explosive. Like I said, Ray Rice shit. Okay, right after Ray Rice went through all that shit, I was at a party and I met this kid, Michael Sams. You know Michael Sams? Very nice guy. He's the first openly gay NFL player. And Mike's a very nice guy, very brave guy. But when I met him, I couldn't help but thinking, his wife up in the elevator. Is that domestic violence or is that just two niggas working shit out in the elevator? You know what I mean?
Here's how I can tell that I'm getting older. I'm confusing words that I never confused before. Like, it'd be one thing if you're like, oh, I've always had trouble with these words. These are words I've never had trouble with, and now I do. And the two that I'm confusing the most are conscious and conscience. And I'll even pause now before I say them, and then I'll fuck it up. Like, I'll be like, I don't want to do that. I'm kind of self-Congress about that. But luckily, I have a wife, and she will correct me, but in a code. Like, you wouldn't know that she's correcting me, but if I misspeak like that, my wife will turn to me and she'll go, are you fucking retarded? And I'll be like, oh yeah, thank you. We're a team. People ask me all the time, Tom, what is the key to your marriage? Simple, I say, intimidation and fear. My wife is Kim Jong-il, and I am the people of North Korea. Every day, there are a series of interrogations leading to a looming execution, okay? I have a very question-oriented household. Like, my house is based, she's like, hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why don't you come over here? Why don't you go over there? Why don't you put that up? Why don't you take that down? Why is that open? Why don't you close that? Why are you eating that? Why don't you put it away? Why don't you drag it over here? Why don't you cut it up? Why don't you take it outside? Why don't you bring it back in? Why are you eating that? Why are you texting? Who are you texting? Who the fuck is Amanda?